Welcome to the Polity Prelims program. My name is Atish Mathur and this is my Telegram channel. Let's begin. The first we need to understand is the resource that we would need to handle polity effectively. Preparing to prepare polity. In my opinion, the only book that you would need is M. Lakshmikant, and this book also has to be done very selectively. In fact, I have prepared a short list of the topics which have been arranged chapter wise, page wise, column, subcolumn, heading, subheading, and table wise from the latest edition of Lakshmikant, which is the 6th edition. A link for the shortlisted topics is enclosed in the video description. You can download it directly from the shared documents of the Telegram channel. Secondly, it is perfectly okay if you do not have the latest edition. In fact, the 5th edition is more than capable to sail you through the prelims exam. One of the most underrated yet the most effective are past year papers. In fact, the past year papers for polity have been the most predictable and you can easily identify focus areas. You don't need to buy the past year papers. You can simply look at them at the end of your book called N. Lakshmikant, and that should be enough. In fact, polity is such a logical subject that most of the questions can be solved through simple derivation. In fact, I have been conducting a lot of sessions online on how to solve past year papers using simple logic. Thirdly, this is a very handy tool. You must have a copy of the bare act of the Constitution, which basically means the entire text of the Constitution. Now, I don't need you to have a book on it, but as long as you have at least a PDF version or even an app on your phone, tablet, or computer, that should sufficiently be enough. This specially comes in handy just in case you need to refer to the core text of an article while you're undergoing your preparation. And lastly, only and only if you have time. In that case, do refer to the class 11th NCRT. It's called the Indian Constitution at Work. I'll repeat this again, only if you have time. Let's get ahead. There are certain do's and don'ts as far as polity prelims preparation is concerned. Let's look at the do's. Always and always look for the words all, none, or only while reading the options. In most cases, the correct answer would always be in and around these words. These words always raise suspicion because they create a sense of oversimplification, which means always pay attention to these words in your options. Second, you will often see questions like these, where the title of the question will have 6 or 4 sub questions. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 4 and 6, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6, and things like that. Whenever you see a question like that, always see the combination of numbers which have been mentioned in the options. It's a very easy to eliminate an obvious wrong choice and come to the best possible answer. Always remember this. Third, always assume the general or the layman interpretation of something mentioned in the question. Please ignore Supreme Court derivations, Supreme Court judgments, commentaries by legal luminaries. What is right for most people, what is more commonly understood, is always the right answer. Look at certain don'ts. You don't need to memorize any article numbers. Second, please don't read the options hurriedly. Always remember, when it comes to polity, the devil lies in the details. Because the subject is so basic, because the questions are so predictable, the one way that the UPSC finds to make the questions tricky is to play with the words, which means you must always read the options as carefully as you can. And third, and perhaps the most important, if it is legally ambiguous, it would not be asked in the prelims, which means While our study of the Constitution, we often come across and search at certain grey areas. For example, a lot of students ask me, is the governor an agent of the center? Now, a question like that might have multiple interpretations and more often than not can have multiple opinions. But the Constitution doesn't say of any such thing, which means it's legally ambiguous. And if it's legally ambiguous, it will never be asked in the prelims. This trick will help you shortlist and eliminate most of the news that you see in and around you. So, what is this program? This program covers all important and relevant areas of the Constitution that can be asked in the prelims. Secondly, this program should be supplemented with a thorough revision of the reading list, the link of which is enclosed in the video description as I've told you before. And thirdly, this program promises to convert a minimum of 70% questions in the prelims paper as far as polity is concerned. And lastly, important areas that I have defined or I have identified are based on an in-depth data analysis of past year papers, and as you would figure this out on your own eventually, the pattern is very predictable. This is why I always stress on past year papers. So what is the timeline of this program? This program would be entirely available on YouTube on my YouTube channel. This program would be entirely free of cost and would be arranged in the form of a playlist so that you can watch it in a sequential form. The videos would be released in parts. So for example, the next few videos on part 1, 2, 3 and 4 would be released as a bunch, and then let us say we'd move on to the parliament, the president, so on and so forth. All portions relating to the Constitution, in all probability, should be covered within a month of releasing this very introductory video. So with that in mind, I seek your support and I seek your blessings. Let's get started. Thank you for your time. My name is Atish Mathur.